Hello, my name is NicholassRivas. I talk about politics and stuff, and today we're going to be talking about the lawsuit from Kari Lake and her team in regards to the midterm election in Arizona. Basically, Kari Lake believes that she didn't lose, even though she did. Katie Hobbs bested her in the governor race, and now we basically are dealing with 2020 Part 2. The Republicans believe they didn't lose, even though they did. They can't believe that they just had shitty policies, which they did. They can't believe that they didn't just have crazy, eccentric politicians representing them, which they did. It's the Democrats and their falter and their easy manipulation of the system. That's their mindset. Given that the 2020 election, nothing has came from it because of lawsuit after lawsuit, audit after audit. People who lost in the Republican Party, albeit the president, and some Senate seats and some Congress seats and governor seats, I'm sure lost. Mainly the presidency is where people complain that the election was false. It was fraudulent. Now with the presidency, I believed that it was going to die out and this was not going to occur. But I was wrong. The Republicans are going to use this after every damn election. Sarah Palin, when she lost her election in Alaska, she said it was voter fraud. Immediately, they jumped to voter fraud. Now, when it came to the Republicans of the midterms elsewhere, outside of Arizona, there was little to no politicians saying that it was fraud. Really, the only person fighting saying that there's fraud was Kari Lake. Even amongst Arizona, Blake Masters, who was running for the Senate against Mark Kelly, he didn't come out and say that this was fraud. A lot of people conceded. So Kari Lake is one of the only few who has. And I've been proposing that this is sort of like a litmus test. Like a lot of Republicans are like, I think we're seeing that there's no success when it comes to election denial. So let's just move from it. Whereas Kari Lake, I think she's smart enough to see that people don't want to vote for someone calling the system a fraud, or they just won't vote, right? Like if you're a Republican and you're being told that the system's a fraud and your vote doesn't matter, you're probably not going to vote. And so that's probably most likely what happened, is that the Republicans were just making themselves look unpresentable. That's why the election deniers lost pretty soundly, whereas the people who won for the Republicans, not all, but some good amounts, were kind of straying away from this Trump politics, this kind of in your face, fuck you, I'm right, you're wrong, libtard. It was more of like the civil-ish Republicans who looked cleaner, more nicer, seemed to be winning. Because like I said, yeah, all the election denier candidates lost pretty big. So Kari Lake, being one of them, is doing this lawsuit. So I've been watching the hearings. We've only had the one so far. I don't see anything in there to make me believe otherwise. But it just started. Really, the main meeting that just occurred was just a formality of, this is what we're fighting for, this is what we're stating, this is our claim. Katie Hobbs is approaching to dismiss. That's just typical court stuff. You set it up. It's not like this movie scene where you go through court and you're in the court with the jury, right? Like, this is a lot of proceedings that have to occur. So far we have nothing. So anybody telling you otherwise, that like, oh, this is the damning evidence, but so far I didn't really see much in regards to like them setting up a case. Like, they have this 70-page file, the 70-page document that is basically saying there's voter fraud, but they just keep bringing up the voter tabulation system's not working, and that, what I'm mistaken, if I'm mistaken, only took 20% up of the whole election of Arizona, right? Like, it was Maricopa County, and the ballots only took up 20% of that, right? So maybe my numbers are off, but it just doesn't seem like that. Is that voter fraud? Like, that the system's broke? They're obviously indicating that the system broke because there was voter fraud. But if that system did break, I'm curious to see what their numbers are going to be. Like, this is what we would have had if Kari Lake. And I'm sure they have more. I didn't read the whole 70-page. But that was the big point, was that the systems were incorrectly working. So obviously there was some sort of malfeasance here. I don't know what the mindset is of them. But what I do know, as things are earlier, it's best to say that they're not going to go anywhere. 2020 was nothing. We had multiple audits. There was a recount already in Arizona. We've been through this song and dance. They're gonna bring in an audit, people. They're gonna do an audit. It's gonna cost a lot of money. They're going to say that there's voter fraud. This is it. We're going to get Joe Biden. And then nothing happens. They've been saying this since 2020. I've been hearing every other week from Telegram, from people on Parler, that Trump is going to come back. And he has not. So every election, denier who's saying that there's some sort of, we got him this time. They just sound like the crazy Russiagate people. So using the pattern from 2020, nothing's going to come of it. But Kari Lake is going to run with Trump. That's my theory. Kari Lake has been doing this, and being the only Republican doing it seems to still be on his good side, Trump. So I think this is really just a kissing ass Trump moment. But I could be wrong. My bet, though, and you can mark me here, is that it's not going to go anywhere. The case so far seems to have very weak legs. It's really just to try to get people on your side. But that election denier stuff is not as popular as I think they is. And two, I think it's just to get Trump's VP pick, which he's going to be picking very soon. I'm hearing rumors that he's going to pick sometime tomorrow even. So we'll see how it goes. But all that being said, this is not going anywhere. This election is going to fail. And if you believe otherwise, please tell me. But given that the 2020 was such a disaster for Republicans and it led to this 2022 midterm failure, I don't see a world where the election deniers keep winning. They're not. They're not going to. And basically Trump is just handing the Democrats the election on a platter if he keeps proposing all of these crazy things. So it is what it is. Thank y'all very much. Thank you.